my job 2 weeks
We
before
got about
Christmas.
5 minutes and we're gonna connect online here in a little bit. So we're gonna get things started.
It's costing me more.
Yeah, let me get your attention real quick.
Next time I see you.
Let me get your attention real quick because we're gonna get started and there's a lot to cover. So I would say if, let's try to at least crank through that first hour. So we'll go from like 7 to 8, crank through. And if you guys have questions, definitely, shoot out the questions and we'll take note and then we'll leave that last like 30 minutes to really dive into it. So there's people waiting online right now, so we're gonna connect in a few minutes right now. But real quick, so we'll do some introductions. Well, actually we'll do it through the show, but actually as a show of hands, just to get a feel of, so I know how to tailor this. I mean, this was originally about getting started, but how many is currently drop shipping? Maybe just by show of hands, real quick. So a handful currently drop shipping. Then the other half, I can assume like, okay, you're just looking to get started. Like, how do I do this, right? So the majority, and that's good because I mean that was a point of this workshop, which is more of a getting started workshop. So we want to dive into that. And actually, if you have your laptop, use your laptop, or if not, then maybe if you're with a partner, pair up to observe. But along the way, we're actually going to go through a setup. So if you have your own, you're actually going to be able to set this up and get this thing really close to be done. All right, sounds good. So this is the Getting Started workshop, and just kind of like a quick little background. We started this middle of last year. Now the group's grown to like over 220 members. And what we do is we have weekly events, and we have these workshops. Some people are mostly newbies, so we tailor workshops for newbies, but then we have major events where people that are more professional dropshippers to get involved. Now today what we're going to do is do a getting started workshop. So this is going to be the overview here for today. We're going to go through creating a Shopify store, finding winning products, Facebook ads, and then if there is any time at the end, we can talk a little bit about funnels, which is some of the more recent things that people have been really excited and taking advantage of. So we'll see how fast we go through this. As a quick overview, we won't spend too much time here, but I'm assuming most of you know what drop shipping is, but let's just quickly talk about it in case somebody doesn't. You're basically not buying any inventory. You sell at retail price, you pay the supplier a wholesale price, and then your supplier sends a customer the products, and then you keep the profits. So generally, that's the setup there. Now, there's a lot of young, like next gen entrepreneurs that ask me, like, did dropshipping start with Shopify? And I'm like, no, it's been around since the dot-com boom. Since the beginning of e-commerce, dropshipping's been around. A quick story for me, like I started since back then. One of my first stores just to prove out the concept, I was dropshipping cigars. I set up manufacturing with cigar manufacturers. And this was before there's like legal regulations about sales of tobacco products over the internet. But I had this thing, and there was no Shopify back then. This was even before, kind of before like Yahoo Store.
1960.
Yeah. So like me being a techie, I programmed my own store, but I watched it automatically. And the cool thing was, people weren't just going to buy a single cigar. They're buying like a case of cigars, and it was actually pretty cool. So I'd say in today's terms, it would probably be considered like a high ticket drop shipping type of model. But in today's terms, you really couldn't implement it because now there's, state by state regulations that you need to follow, stuff like that. But that was my journey. The story of Zappos, same thing, proven business model. I like to talk about this story because this is one of the biggest success stories. If you don't know Zappos, they were the first.
Like shoes, I'm sorry, they were drop shipping? That was a drop shipping thing?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'm shocked. Sorry.
So she was asking, Zappos was drop shipping, and that's the whole point. Most people don't realize that. Zappos was one of the first to prove out selling shoes over the internet. And this is back during the beginning of e-commerce, where buying habits were like, people were just new to it. Like, oh, You can buy stuff over the internet. And then when it came to shoes, people were just worried about buying things over the internet. Shoes, everybody was used to, I gotta try it on, I gotta see how it looks. Well, Zappos, Tony Hsieh wrote a book called Delivering Happiness, and if you haven't read it, read it, it's really good. But they proved out the concept with dropshipping. And when they proved that out, then they made the bigger investment into inventory and working out the supply chain. And they actually went even further. They developed like a really cool corporate culture, customer experience. The book's really good, and they did so good that Amazon acquired them for like $1.2 billion. So the story of Zappos, like most people know, because if you're buying shoes, but most people don't know, they started out with dropshipping. So it's a valid business model. So like for people that don't know, you shouldn't be hating on
1-800 flowers, the same.
Huh?
1-800 flowers, the
Same thing?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's a great point.
Yeah.
I'll have to read up on that story. So the evolution of dropshipping, here's the mindset here, and we're talking about Shopify dropshipping. In the audience today, we do have some eBay and Amazon dropshippers, and then they're here to get some interest in Shopify dropshipping, which is really cool. Really got to explore all avenues of online business. But in this, the mindset of a Shopify dropshipper is you're not competing against Amazon. You're not competing against eBay. And let me tell you why. Because the type of buyers that go to Amazon and eBay are what I call calculated buyers. They're searching for the product. They're browsing for that product. Most of them are, being smart, price comparison, all that stuff. What we're targeting is impulse buyers. Imagine the person that's browsing through their phone and they happen to see, that Jeep belt that's there. Man, I got a Jeep and there's this belt that I can get. All of a sudden they click into it and now they're at your store and they see they can get it 50% off. They're going to buy it. They were caught in a moment because they were interested in Jeeps. It happened to come across them. How did it come across them? Because Facebook knows that they're interested in Jeeps and they could use a belt. So all of a sudden it all comes together and it's an impulse buy. So you're not price comparison. You're not doing anything against Amazon or eBay. This is really in its own space. And then in that dropshipping mindset is that you want to then scale like a high frequency trader. Now this is the awesome thing is that with Facebook ads, imagine like, a stock trader, right? They have an algorithm, buy low, sell high. And a high frequency means that they do it thousands of times over and over again. If they find something that's profitable, I'm going to do it thousands of times over again. And even if it's cents, thousands of times it turns into dollars and then big dollars, right? So the same thing here with the products and your sales. You're advertising. I got an ad set and I'm running it. And if it's making profits, now I can scale the ad set. I can vertically scale it and horizontally scale it. And you can do it hundreds of times over again. And you're monitoring what's called, and we're going to get into the details here, but you can scale it like a high frequency trader. And beforehand, people didn't have access to this. The capabilities has happened over the past few years. So now let's get into creating a Shopify store. So these are going to be the steps to creating a Shopify store. Step number one, this is a really awesome tip. Most people won't tell you about it, is you're going to start off with a Shopify developer's account. This is going to give you a free Shopify store, dropshipping Shopify store. Shopify developer, so developers.shopify.com. If you have your laptop, I'd say pull it up right now. Start creating that account right now. So go to developers.shopify.com because we're going to go through step by step right now, and I'm going to switch from the screen share or the PowerPoint to actually show because we're going to set up a store. But the reason why you're going to do this is because you're going to get this store for free up to 50 sales. It's not a 14-day trial where people are concerned, man, how can I start a store and test it out? I only got 14 days and people are nervous, then they have to pay a monthly fee. Here you can use it and get a full feature store up to 50 sales. Now imagine if you got 50 sales, it should be good enough to pay for your $29 a month, right? So that's the whole point of this, and it's really awesome. Most people, either they don't know about it or they don't share or talk about it because maybe they're hoping to get an affiliate sale off of you. I'm not sure the reason why. But let's do this right now.